Hello, everyone. It's me, Monica P. Hall, and it is time for our weekly messages for the collective. All right. So, this week's message, well, I feel like they're all good. So, this one I feel like is something that perhaps you felt you've avoided, you didn't want to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So, the concept we're going to be talking about today, the message for this week is about letting go and surrendering. You're excited, right? Yeah, I can tell. All right, but before we get started, please, if you are enjoying these messages, if you like my channel, please make sure you're subscribing so that you can get these messages every week. And make sure you're clicking the like button down below. All right, let's get into this. Yes, I like to write this down, not just for you, but for me. Sometimes when we're doing these concepts, they're very, very grand. So I ask that the crew be as specific as possible when, guiding me in delivering these messages for us. All right, so this week's message, the concept of letting go and or surrendering aren't optional when one chooses the life of ascension and growth. Things, people, and situations aren't meant to be with you forever, but you will be. You will be yourself and with yourself forever. It's the soul that's immortal. You will see and experience life/death many times on many levels in order to become who you want to be and live the life you want to live. You must be willing to let go of what was in order to embrace what is to become. I'm going to tell you that I absolutely love the concept of letting go and surrendering because it's natural. It's natural, you guys. It's natural. So, when you made your first friend in maybe kindergarten or the first grade, and if you were like me, you grew up in a town where a lot of people that you actually began the whole experience of school with are people that you end up graduating with. And have you ever noticed that each year you progress, in your academic studies or what have you, your friends change? So why do your friends change? Your friends may change because, your classes may have changed. You're just not in the same classes together anymore. But most likely it's your interests have changed. You have changed. You guys don't have as much in common anymore as you used to. And we view something like that as natural, right? It's part of growing up. It's part of the whole story of just becoming who you are. And what I find is when we get older, we tend to hold on to things more. We want to hold on to things more. And sometimes we're holding on to things too tightly, things that need to leave, things that want to leave, things that we absolutely positively have to let go of if we're going to continue the story of us, of ourselves as an individual, of us as an infinite being. So let's just take that concept, right, of just the microcosm of just the concept of school, and let's apply it to our jobs. Let's apply it to our relationships. Let's apply it to our spiritual belief system. Let's apply it to just everyday life. Do you see the pattern? Do you see that we may sometimes only be right for one another for a brief period of time on our journey of growth? Do you see that? Now, here's the thing. This can happen in your relationships. This can happen in your friendships. It can happen in romantic relationships. And so this is one of the reasons why I always like to stress giving each other enough space to grow. Making sure that part of your concept of love is nurturing and supporting someone as they're going through their changes, as they're growing. Who, if you've married someone, or if you started dating someone, or you've befriended someone, if you're going to be together long enough or forever, you need to understand that the person you began with is not going to be the person that you end up with. Whether the end up with means years, decades, what have you, you have to give each other space to change and grow. Now, to go a little bit deeper with that, right? You have to give yourself enough space to change and grow. Um, Here's what I want to say about people who think they know themselves. Um, that's a process. We are constantly changing. I've talked about it before, but some of us don't want to change. Some of us think that we have ourselves figured out, but that's not always going to be true. What are the things that you can know about yourself for sure? Whether or not you believe in equality, honor, honesty, respect, mutual respect, compassion, empathy. Those aren't things that have to be negotiable ever, right? But it shouldn't not only be non-negotiable in our relationships with others, but non-negotiable in our relationships with ourselves. And what do I mean by this? Well, sometimes when we feel ourselves changing, if we think that it is going to threaten other relationships, perhaps our job, perhaps our romantic relationship, perhaps our friendships, perhaps our relationship with family, we will purposely stunt our own growth just to hold on to those relationships. But I promise you, it never ends up being worth it. Um, you end up, oh, hello, Magic. Magic's decided to join us. You end up being miserable. You end up feeling lost. You end up feeling disconnected from yourself. If any of you can translate that, I hope that message helped you. But as I was saying, you end up being disconnected from yourself, and that's never worth it, right? When we talk about ascension, when we talk about raising our vibrations, we are talking about this perpetual cycle of death and rebirth, death and rebirth, and death and rebirth. So let's say, for example, you were raised to believe a certain kind of way. You were raised to believe certain ideals or ideologies. And even maybe as a child, as you're being taught these things and possibly indoctrinated, it wasn't sitting right with your soul. But you were a child then at the time, and you're assuming these people know what they're talking about, even though there might be a nagging thing in your spirit that says, yeah, no, that's not right. That it's bothering me. Okay, so that's your life as a child. As you become an adult, it really becomes a question of whether or not you're going to honor your own spirit over the indoctrination that you were taught or the traditions that you were taught. And I know that when people choose a path of spirituality that does not necessarily adhere to any sort of organized religion, they come to this impasse, right? Whether or not they're going to pursue what makes their soul feel good versus what they were taught. And so, what I want to say about that is choose yourself, choose your own happiness. Choose your own alignment. Choose your own spiritual well-being. Actually be willing to let it go. Not only because it's going to free you of things that you just don't believe things that don't resonate with you, things that are perhaps not in your best and highest good as an individual, as your own voice, as your own I am, if you will. But it just kind of keeps you herded like cattle into a system that obviously wasn't working for you and possibly isn't working for others, but they don't have the self-love, the self-worth, um, the self-care to acknowledge and free themselves from the I'm just going to say it, what can feel like the prison of groupthink and belonging to a group. Yeah, the crew's happy I'm using the word prison. Yes, it can be, it can feel like prison for your spirit to have to adhere to rules, regulations, policies, and beliefs that doesn't raise it in vibration. Don't be afraid to let go. If it has to be done, do it. Because you're going to have to do it again in a different way, at a different time, under different circumstances. You're going to have to do it again. You may have to change your friends as you raise your vibration. We are highly contagious energetically wise, right? So perhaps you used to hang out with a crowd that absolutely matched your energy, but you started doing your work on yourself. You started healing. You started meditating. You started carving out more time for you to evaluate and reevaluate what it is that you want your life experience to be. And then one day you look up and everyone that you have surrounded yourself with, it doesn't work with you anymore. And believe it or not, even though in your mind that sucks, but it also is indicative of your own progress, right? Some people you will be able to take with you because they're on their own, spiritual quest. They're on their own personal development journey, and they can still relate to you. And if that happens, please make sure you're encouraging one another to continue your own journey. Please make sure that anyone who's supporting you on your journey, you acknowledge them and you let them know how much you appreciate their support. And make sure you're supporting others that you see on their journey. I think that's so important, because I feel like when you're on a path of ascension, or you're on a path of growth, and you're being mindful, and you're changing, it can feel lonely. Now, technically, you're not alone, especially if you have access to your spirit guides, especially if you do meditate and you've gotten to the point in your meditation that you can sense the support and the love that's constantly surrounding you. But ego, and by the way, ego's never going away. It's never going to go away. It's part of the human experience. But ego, in all of its emotional state, says, where has everyone gone? I feel so alone. I feel so lonely. And it may make you question whether or not you're doing the right thing, whether or not you're on the right path. And I will refer to you as something I've said in the past. And if you follow me on social media, you know, the mastering of oneself is not a group exercise. Group exercises or groups, what they are is, it's kind of like a sacred space in order for us to support one another while we're all on our own individual journeys, right? And so if you haven't figured that part out, you're welcome. Becoming the best and highest version of you cannot be done in a group. Okay, so you are going to have to spend time alone. And you know what's so good about that? What's so good about spending time alone is, here's the thing. If you don't like being alone with yourself, that's a big red flag, flashing sirens. Woo, 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 woo. Why don't I like being alone with myself? What did I do to me that when I am alone with myself, I'm uncomfortable? Have I broken my own trust with myself? Have I deemed myself unworthy of my own love? Have I done or said something to someone else that really was beneath who I thought I was? Have I consciously and purposely hurt others, hurt myself because there's some underlying trauma or hurt or wound that I have not addressed? If I'm alone with myself, will all my fears come up to the surface of my consciousness and eat me alive? Yeah, I know, right? I'm speaking some of you guys' story. I'm speaking your truth. Yeah, I it's always a red flag for me when people say they don't like being alone. Because here's the thing, you can inadvertently become very clingy to those you spend time with. You can inadvertently become a psychic vampire and just start sucking the life force out of other people because you cannot stand the idea that the truth is everyone's on their own individual journey. Everyone's life reflects that journey. And it doesn't matter who you surround yourself with, you're still on your own journey. You can use people to distract you, but again, those moments of alone will come. And so, in that way, what do we need to let go of? Right? If I'm afraid of being alone with myself, right? What do we need to let go of? First thing that I need to let go of, right, is the idea that I deserve to be alone and that being alone is a bad thing. Being alone is not a bad thing. Putting so much of your self-worth into the opinions of other people is detrimental to your well-being on so many levels. So the first thing you need to do is remember, right? Everybody's going through this or has gone through this on some level. This whole concept of being alone with yourself. You have to let go of the idea of being bad or being good and concentrate on being honest. Honesty is not always going to be beautiful. Honesty sometimes will be extraordinarily beautiful, but it's not about that. It's about making sure the true you, your spirit, your soul, right now your soul, you'll be a spirit when you no longer have a body, but that your soul reflects what's happening outside of yourself. Okay? So if you're in a situation where it's so clearly a no and your soul is screaming, no, 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 I don't want to do this. Nope, 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 nope. But you basically sell out your soul, which is your true you, in order to make other people happy, in order to fit into a group, in order to fit into an ideal that another person has for you, because you cannot accept letting go or surrendering to the fact that you're changing or the situation's changing or the other person's changing. The repercussions could be dire. And what do I mean? I mean, if the situation's not for you, it doesn't matter what you do to try to prevent it from ending, it will end. And I'm an advocate for allowing things to end, subtly, quietly, without a lot of drama, rather than making it messy, dramatic, loud, and extremely hurtful. Okay, so we have to let things go. We have to let people go. We have to let old ideology go. This is how we get from there to here. And in some cases, from here to there. We cannot stand in place in life. Our body's changing, our thoughts are changing. There's too many things coming in to basically not only nudge us, sometimes literally push us forward. So please, when it comes to letting go, when it comes to surrendering, I'm telling you, when your soul speaks to you, when your soul says, go that way, don't go this way, please. please don't go this way. And why am I saying that? Because here's the thing. If your soul's saying go that way and go this way, it's not like you're not going to eventually end up exactly where your soul told you to go. You're just taking the scenic route. And the scenic route is likely filled with pitfalls, tears, disappointment, harsh lessons, pain, trauma. Why do that to yourself? Why involve other people into your situation if it's really about you honoring the desires of your own soul? Not your ego, not your ego, not your ego. And why am I saying it like that? Not your ego. Because all you get confused, right? You want something so bad. You want someone so bad that you literally become fixated on this want and completely ignoring your needs. The person that you're fixated on, the thing that you're fixated on, you know why I know it's not for you? It's not for you. I don't care what you tell yourself. The thing that you're fixated on, it's not for you. And I will tell you why. Because you have to chase it. Something that's for you doesn't need to be chased. Something that's for you will meet you where you're at. So if you have a question about that, like, because I get so many questions about love and relationships and jobs. If it's for you, you don't have to chase it. You just got to show up in your best outfit of honesty, of integrity, of honorability, of truth, of light, and be open with a great big yes. Yes, I'm willing to do this. Yes, I'm willing to show up for myself. Yes, I'm willing to have this experience. But a lot of you are so preoccupied with things that don't want you, trying to breach the boundary free will, trying to control a situation, to control a person. You literally are making a mess. And I promise you, at the end of all of it, the option you will be left with is the option that says, we should have gone this way the first time. I'm laughing because I've already lived so much of this, and what I learned is when your soul is whispering to you, when the universe is whispering to you, when it's saying, go this way. If you want to be in alignment as quickly as possible, if you want to be in a space where you can receive the things that are good for you, the things that you absolutely need, the things that are not negotiable, the blessings rather than the desires, as soon as you get that message, act accordingly. Be willing to let go of parts of yourself that are no longer serving you. Be willing to let go of relationships that are no longer serving you. Be willing to let go of friendships that are no longer serving you. Sometimes you're not serving it either. Sometimes they just really can't stand your bright light. They can't stand your deep thoughts. They can't stand the truth of you. They cannot stand the beauty of you. It's no one's fault. It's just a clear indication that it's time to separate and it's time to move on and walk your paths while sending each other love and blessings. It's possible. It doesn't always have to be dramatic. It doesn't always have to be messy. I'm not going to say it's not going to be painful. But what we need to do is we need to start focusing our energies on what's in everyone's best and highest good, and not the whining and the cryings and the wantings of the ego. Because I promise you, if you just pause and look back at all those times where you served the ego first, the end of that probably didn't work in your favor. Okay? Be willing to let go. It's not an option. It's really not an option. Okay? Thanks so much for tuning in. Once again, if you're enjoying these messages, if you're enjoying my channel and all these videos, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel and you're liking the messages, and tell your friends. And hey, comment. Hey guys who have been commenting, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much to my new subscribers. I appreciate all of you. I cannot wait to be with you again next week. And that's it. All right. Namaste. Have a great week, everyone.